2020 Board of County Commissioners meeting. As we all know, things are a little different, so please bear with us as we experiment with a different setup and a different way to run the meeting. So please stand for Reverend Singh, Trinity United Methodist Church, for invocation, and please remain standing for the Pledge of Allegiance.
Good morning.
Good morning.
I hope everybody is healthy today, and I pray for the health of all of our families and our friends. Let's join together in mind, body, and spirit. Thank you, giver of all life, for the breath you breathe into us. Thank you, creator of the universe, for our beautiful planet, our great nation, our sunny state of Florida, and our beloved Martin County. Thank you, provider of all things, and knowledge and wisdom, for the resources and gifts and talents we all bring to bear on the decisions we face today. Loving one, in this time of global crisis, in which so many people are isolated and ill, and in grave danger of losing their lives and their jobs and their homes, we ask for your healing, your peace, your providence, and your compassion. May the decisions we make today reflect your steadfast love of all of the people you have created and have placed in our charge, especially our neighbors most in need. May we, in the way we govern our county, glorify you by upholding the sacred trust you have placed in all of us. To the flag of the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, additional items today is Proclamation 4. Representatives from municipalities will give an update on their current efforts regarding the COVID-19 virus. Department 4, consider a referendum and ballot language to levy a local government infrastructure sales tax. Consent poll, consent 15, adoption of a resolution renaming the Martin County Golf Course, pulled by Commissioner Hurd. Items withdrawn, Proclamation 3, representation by the Martin County Health Department, presentation by the Martin County Health Department regarding COVID-19. Public hearing number 1, legislative public hearing to consider transmittal of the Comprehensive Plan Amendment 1919, Pulte at Christ Fellowship, which has been withdrawn by the applicant. We'll have public comment at 9:05 and 5:05. Do we have a motion to approve?
Commissioner Jenkins,
yes, sir.
But just to make this clear, Department 4, the additional item, it was a request by me to continue that item to a date uncertain. It's inappropriate to be considering that, considering the emergency right now.
Pull it off? You don't have to continue it. Would we just withdraw it? Yeah. Withdraw it, then, Commissioner.
It doesn't require advertising.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, is that a motion?
That's a motion.
Okay. Do we
Second.
excuse me?
Second for the whole motion?
Okay,
For
we
the
have a
whole-
motion by Commissioner.
Yeah.
Yes, it is.
Okay.
We have a motion by Commissioner. You have two motions on the floor.
No, you have a motion, a second.
Okay.
Yeah,
The
she
whole
just made
agenda.
a comment on the original agenda motion.
We have a motion by Commissioner Hurd, seconded by Commissioner Smith. All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? That motion passes unanimously. Did we do we didn't do we have a motion by Commissioner Smith, seconded by I don't know who, for the agenda?
No,
That was
the
the whole agenda.
Same one, okay. Okay.
By November, you'll have it down perfect.
Say it again?
By November, you'll have it down perfect.
It's just a weird meeting.
No doubt. Okay, I have a little statement. Thanks for joining us. The health and safety of our community is important to us. You and your families are what makes Martin County so special. And while there's a lot of uncertainty in what lies ahead, I want to let you know that the board is actively engaged and the county is managing through this through our Emergency Operations Center. We are in constant communication with our local, state, and federal partners, and the proactive measures we've put in place ensure that the health and safety of our community comes first, and critical services will continue to be delivered. If you or someone you know has questions, we're here for you. Call our Community Information Center at 772-287-1652 or visit martin.fl.us. We've created a webpage that's updated regularly to provide you vital information and resources. Take care of yourselves, your family, and your neighbors. Spread compassion, not panic. And we'll get through this together, one community, Martin Strong. Okay, that then moves us down to proclamation number 1, present a plaque of recognition and appreciation to Colleen J. Holmes upon the occasion of her retirement from service with the Martin County Board of County Commissioners. Ms. Krista.
Mayor, stay
She's
back.
eager to get out of here.
This is really hard to do when you're a hugger, you know. I mean, it's just like, and some people would argue that I'm not one. So Colleen has been with us for 37 and a half. She spent 32 of those years in the county's attorney's office. She has been an individual that has been faithful to Martin County, dedicated to Martin County. She's done tremendous amounts of work. Recently, her last 5 years have been in public works, in property management. She is connected to her community. She was very instrumental with the Indian Riverside Park and the mansion and all of her activities with that. And so she, as far as not only being an employee of Martin County, but as a resident of Martin County, what she has given to us is just tremendous. So we have a plaque for her. Where's public? We had somebody from public. Social distancing, yes. So this plaque says, from the Martin County Board of County Commissioners, in appreciation is being presented to Colleen J. Holmes in grateful recognition of over 37 years of dedicated public service to the citizens of Martin County, Florida, presented this 24th day of March 2020. And I'm going to miss you. I really am. But you're not going anywhere. You're still going to be here, so we'll see each other. So with that, Colleen, I'm going to hand this off to you, and if you want to say a few words.
Because I like history, I've been here for 37 and a half years. I worked with 29 county commissioners, 6 county attorneys, not to mention the assistant county attorneys, and 6 county administrators. Working for Martin County has been very rewarding. I feel like this has been my second home and my second family. My first family is over here. They came today. I'm going to miss everybody, and I look forward to traveling someday, and I'm going to be relaxing a lot for now. And I want to thank you all for this recognition. I'll see you.
Krista, you were waving your hands. No, you're good? Okay. Okay, proclamation number 2, Laura.
Mr. Chair, I am Laura Beaupre for today.
Okay, good.
Not as good looking, apparently.
Not near as pretty.
I would like to ask Mr. Lou Jones, the President of the Vietnam Veterans of America chapter, to step to the mic, please. We have not forgotten, nor will we ever forget, the men and women who served so honorably in the Vietnam War, and their sacrifice is an inspiring reminder of the patriotism, spirit, and courage of all who serve in our nation's armed forces. As a remembrance to those veterans who served in Vietnam, March 29th is hereby proclaimed as Vietnam War Veterans Day, marking the day the last of the American combat troops were withdrawn from the battlefields of Vietnam in 1973. And to receive the proclamation is Mr. Lou Jones, again, President of the Vietnam Veterans of America, Chapter 1041.
the Clorox.
All right, I've been told I need to keep this down to 15 or 20 minutes, so I'll try to keep it short. I appreciate, we all as veterans in the Martin County appreciate the support that we're given by the board and the community at large. There's a lot of veterans out there and their families that need help, and that's the primary goal of our organization. So, again, I want to thank everybody, and particularly want to thank recently the board who accomplished the raising of the flags on the Veterans Memorial Bridge. The POW flag in particular was put together by a Vietnam veteran in 1971, but it doesn't pertain to only Vietnam veterans. Veterans of all eras are missing still, and needless to say, they've all been killed from each war. So we greatly appreciate the recognition and the support. Thank you very much.
Okay, now we have representatives from municipalities that will give an update on their current efforts regarding the COVID-19 virus. And we're going to start with Mayor Mike Meyer.
Good morning, Chair, Vice Chair, Commissioners, and staff. I am Mike Meyer, Mayor of the City of Stuart in beautiful Martin County. I do not need to reiterate that these are trying times for all of us, but on behalf of the City of Stuart, I am happy to report that during this incredibly difficult period when it matters most, the staff and representatives of the city and county, as well as our partner agencies, are doing an excellent job collaborating to inform and protect our citizens. I am proud that we continue to be in close coordination regarding updates on testing, results, executive orders, guidelines, and the larger community impacts of this rapidly evolving crisis. I thank you for holding this meeting in a way that allows us to follow social distancing guidelines, and for inviting your municipalities, as well as area nonprofits, business leaders, to address you and the public. I thank you for continuing to allow for the public to participate fully in their government. The county is doing a very good job spreading important messaging from the governor and the Department of Health and the Department of Emergency Management to dispel myths, explain new rules, discourage bad behavior, and continually reinforce assembly and social distancing guidelines. For me personally, I've made it a goal to take every opportunity I can to remind our citizens of the urgency around social distancing. Recently, news has made it appear that only young people, these spring breakers, are responsible for this crisis. And while indeed many have been less inclined to recognize the risks for our broader community at large, it's important for all of us, regardless of our age, to work together to police each other and keep each other safe. With the virus' long incubation period and many carriers appearing asymptomatic, I'm urging everyone I speak with to simply act as if they have the virus, to not let the artificially low number of confirmed cases give them a false sense of security. Rather than focus on not acquiring the virus, to behave in a way that would prevent you from spreading it. Thinking this way could save the health and possibly the lives of many in our community. I can hardly think of another case where doing something so simple can be so patriotic and so heroic. And speaking of heroic, I'm especially grateful for the dedication of our exceptional healthcare workers. Shout out to my mom, my stepmom, my dad, my sister, my cousin, our utility and public works staff. Shout out to my stepdad, and our public safety personnel. I know our law enforcement and the fire rescue are in close coordination with the Sheriff's Office and Martin County Fire Rescue, and I am confident that this coordination is saving even more lives than usual. There are more heroes in this unfolding story, those working around the clock to keep our grocery stores stocked, truck drivers bringing in supplies, food service workers and mom and pop restaurateurs preparing takeout and delivery meals. We are very appreciative of you all. For our part, at the City of Stuart, To support those critical food service industry workers, the city is allowing downtown restaurants with parking restrictions to cordon off parking spaces for pickup service. Our residents and visitors have already been taking advantage of this convenience, and we encourage them to continue to do so. In fact, I heard today is the Great American Takeout, a national effort to support the restaurant industry and put much needed money in the pockets of our restaurant employees. I hope you all will join me and today order some takeout for lunch and dinner from one of our many great local restaurants in the city of Stuart. As many of us settle into a new normal, we cannot forget the toll this pandemic is taking on many of our deemed non-essential businesses and workers. The independent retail stores and boutiques, hairdressers, shout out to my sister, massage therapists, and more. I humbly urge you to join me in reaching out to our local economic and business development organizations to assist. We should be relying as much as we can on the great expertise we have locally in these organizations. Our Economic Council, the BDB, Chambers of Commerce, to not only help us find ways to minimize damage today, but more importantly, to begin planning for a way out of this crisis when the spread has slowed, to get our local small businesses and workers back on their feet on day one. Let's plan now. In summary, the City of Stuart, as always, but especially now, values its partnership with Martin County and our sister municipalities, and I know that with continued close coordination, we will get through this together. We will be battered and bruised, but we will not be knocked out if we work together. For additional updates from the City of Stuart, for those watching and tuning in, please visit our website, cityofstuart.us, where you can sign up for our press releases and newsletters, or follow us on Facebook at the City of Stuart, Stuart Life. Thank you.
Thank you, Mike. And now we have the mayor of Ocean Breeze, Ken DeAngelis.
One correction, I'm not the mayor, I'm the president of the town of Ocean Breeze.
Okay.
Sorry, that's my fault.
That's,
No problem.
wow, you're really up.
Just want to bring you up to date on what the town is doing. Until further notice, the town of Ocean Breeze will remain open with full staff Monday through Friday from 9 a.m. to 2 p.m. for people who have business with the town only. We will not be allowing residents or visitors into our office. But we will be handling questions or problems with via telephone, email, and electronic means. The town's website is being constantly updated to include pertinent information, including contacts and best practices. Staff is closely monitoring briefings provided by the Martin County EOC, Emergency Operations Center. The town also is coordinating with Ocean Breeze Plaza, better known as the Public Shopping Center, to ensure that the tenants, the businesses, receive information regarding state and federal level emergency loans and funding for small businesses damaged by the current crisis. Ocean Breeze Resort operators have closed all common area facilities, including the swimming pool, the bar, the restaurant, the meeting room, through April 30th, and we'll reevaluate at that time. The town's regular meeting scheduled for April 13th has been canceled. The next regular meeting scheduled for May 11th will take place, but we will determine at a future date if that also will be canceled. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, now the mayor of Sewell's Point, Mayor Frank Fender. He's also accompanied by James Campo and Dave Kurtzman. 6 feet apart,
Down the
guys.
mic for a second. Maybe I'll just leave it here for the.
Just leave it over there.
Yeah.
Commissioners, thanks for having us. My name's Frank Fender, Mayor of the town of Sewell's Point. I'm here with our unified team, Commissioners James Campo and Commissioners Dave Kurtzman, and also our town manager, Michelle Berger, who will give us an update in a moment on the status of the mitigation efforts that were underway in our town. I also want to acknowledge the commissioners who aren't here for social distancing reasons. Vice Mayor Vinnie Brill and Commissioner Kaya Mayfield, who chose to stay home just so that we weren't having us. And first of all, I'd like to acknowledge in our entire Treasure Coast community to bring us together in this unique time. In the time that I've been on the Treasure Coast, years, we haven't experienced this type of economic challenge. And so I just want to acknowledge both the county commissioners for the work you're doing here and ongoing to disseminate the information that we're getting regularly and we're dispensing to our. I'd also like to acknowledge our partners in our sister municipalities, City of Stewart, and those in our immediate surrounding areas, including Ocean Breeze. And I'd also like to acknowledge and thank the diligent teamwork and effort of our administrators, the county administrator, Michelle, and also City of Stewart, Dave Dietz. They're working well together, they're communicating, we're getting information back readily, and we're happy to have them and their prolific experience helping us through this crisis as well. And of course, lastly, and perhaps not leastly, I'd like to acknowledge our first responders. Certainly, we're working closely with the Martin County Sheriff's Office and Sheriff Snyder. We're working closely with Chief Timarelli at the city and, of course, the fire rescue organizations from Chief Schobel and Chief Fire Felicione in the city. And, of course, we're completely indebted to our own Chief of Police, Tina Chekanowski. So their experience working together as a team, open communications, is allowing us to deliver potential critical information to our residents who really, between you and me, our goal at the town is to keep our residents safe and to deliver that message wholeheartedly and keep them informed as much as possible. And of course, all the things that the mayor, we're offering the guidance of our local, state, national directives on social distancing and sheltering in place. And we're advising them of the importance of flattening that curve. Well, with that said, we're expecting that we're not at the peak yet. We look for the numbers to continue to rise as we've seen in the last couple of days, and probably more so as tests become more prevalent and they start flowing through our process. So that said, we're also looking with optimistic hope on the backside of that peak flattening activity. We have initiatives in place that are mitigating the impact, and I'll have Town Manager Berger talk a few of those instances in a possible. And by the way, we're keeping this down to too much of the valuable time of this board, and we appreciate your diligence in allowing us to speak. Secondarily, we have, given the limited affluence of our community, we have business leaders in town and philanthropic efforts to help those less fortunate ourselves, and Commissioner Campbell is going to speak briefly on some of those initiatives in just a moment as well. But overall, we're offering a lack of panic, no need to get overly concerned other than following the guidance that we're advising and looking optimistically at the backside of the down peak spiral. Many of our residents are business owners in town, and we're subtly guiding and offering them the request to do as much as possible to impact the cash flow economic engines of the businesses that they possess and we drive. We need to keep our payrolls intact. We need to keep our cash flow engines intact so that when the snapback comes after this effort, that our economy gets back on track immediately and promptly. So we're looking optimistically for the backside of this effort. That said, most specifically, I think there was some request from this body from us on IT support. It may have happened yesterday. I'll let Michelle speak to that, and thank you if it has. If it's not, we request that you help us with the effort to work remotely, have our staff work remotely as quickly as possible. That said, if Michelle would like to come up for a moment and first on philanthropic efforts, that'd be great. Thank you.
Thank you. Sewell's Point is a small community, but we're home to many influencers. We have many physicians, many professionals, constitutional officers, county attorneys, parents of county commissioners, CEOs, founders of local banks and hospitals, developers, philanthropists. We're a small community but we have a lot of influencers. So I want to speak to those today, and I'm calling upon the influencers to enjoin our residents to use their gifts to help us through this crisis, like the government cannot. I'm urging our town to help by praying, donating, and encouraging. Specifically, in this day of social distancing, best way to help is just with point and a click. So I would like for all of the residents of Sewell's Point to consider going to the computers, donating to the Martin County United Way, Project Lift, Martin County Community Foundation, House of Hope, and 25 United, which are all helping our community and keeping money locally. I also want to encourage people to donate blood, One Blood right across the street. I just dropped a pint yesterday with the encouragement of Troy McDonald. That's a way for us all to help our fellow citizens in a way that government cannot. On a personal note, I want you all to know that I'm praying for you. I'm praying for the county commissioners. I'm praying for the administration. I'm praying for Sarah Wood, but not as much for Sarah because she's got Walter. I think you're good. But thank you all. I'm encouraging you to continue in your wise moves that you're taking to protect our community.
Would you like to give us just a brief?
I'm trying to stay well, right? I would say thank you again for your courtesy. This is, I know, your business meeting, and so the fact that you are allowed for you and then be able to offer this update to your constituents, we do appreciate it. So public safety has been identified as a priority by our commission. As such, the resources have been made to our police department, so we are somewhat ahead of the curve when it comes to PPE, our personal protective equipment, supplies, and then the tactical equipment that they would need. So I want to assure the county commission as well as our residents that our first responders that are getting there are equipped, and we would ask for their patience as they don their masks when appropriately. Moving on to other things that that are our competencies, building department. So we have two basic competencies in the town of Sewell's Point: one, police and safety, and the other one being building and construction. So we have extended temporarily till the end of March our hours for construction and our contractors until 7 or dusk, whichever comes first. And that is because we do have some homeowners that are in the midst of renovations that they'd like to get done before it gets too bad. And so we look at that to probably end at the end of this week. So it's not going to be long-term, but it does allow our contractors to get in and get that work done. For our business owners across the way in the Harbor Plaza, we have lightened our sign ordinance, and they are utilizing A-frame signs and informational banners for a short period of time to let people know that the drive-up capabilities are there for the restaurants to get out and make sure you get your takeout, and also any hours of stores that might be open. We want to make sure that those businesses stay active. Town Hall and Town Commons remain closed. Town Commons Park remain closed at this time. Thanks to the efforts of our St. Louis, that was a call from the past, our Martin County Sheriff and Taryn's administrative influence, we've been able to get our laptops up and running so that we can work remotely, and we are thankful for that, so thank you very much. Communication is very high at this point, especially as it relates to our intergovernmental conversations, and so we want our residents to know that we are in daily communications, myself, Chief Tina, with not only our local representatives here, intergovernmental agencies, but our state, and then once a week we are participating on that White House call, albeit it's mostly just listening and understanding what they're doing at that level. And so our employees, what I want everybody to know, they are committed in a way to public service that I've never seen before. And so we're small but mighty, and they do operate as though they are the owners of this operation. And so we will be there to serve, to continue to offer the services and the level of service they're used to. So thank you very much.
Thanks for all you're doing, Michelle, and we appreciate your support. Dave?
Yes, the commission with maybe some help over here. I went into Publix probably about a week and a half ago. Probably goes for all food stores. First thing when you go in, over 100 people in any Walmart, Target, Publix, Winn-Dixie. Please gave me, it was a lady reached into a bag of grapes as I was looking to get some grapes, and she put it in her mouth. She reached into her mouth, pulled the skin, and she flicked it on the floor. Then she reached into another bag of grapes. And this is, if there's going to be a disease or virus getting spread, this is how it's spread. And then I brought it to the attention of the produce gentleman that was putting the produce out on the shelves. Notice, and there's another guy over there squeezing the tomatoes and the apples, and this is how things spread. And if there's some influence that we could have on these stores, especially handling the produce, that they're not being able to handle by the public. It would be nice to have somebody actually, I'd like to get 2 apples, I'd like to get a couple of tomatoes, can I have that bag of grapes? And I did ask the gentleman if it's possible to get a bag of grapes in the back. Unfortunately, there were none. And I will not go for any fresh produce at Publix right now unless it comes from the back room. It's just that if you stand for 10 minutes in the produce section, I guarantee you'll see at least a dozen people touching every piece of fruit or vegetable that's up there that is unwrapped. Use your influence to talk to the store managers so this doesn't happen. From getting sick. Very much.
Ian, thanks for all your time. Let's all stay Martin strong, all right?
Last but not least, our friend, Village of Indiantown Mayor, Mr. Guyton Stone.
Good morning, Chair. Good morning, Vice Chair, Commissioners, staff. Thank you for having me today. And I also want to thank the first responders for all the hard work and being out there in the front lines. Today, my name is Guyton Stone, Mayor of Indiantown, Village of Indiantown, and I just have on March 19th, we had a special meeting and we declared a state of emergency. All village council meeting and workshops, events are canceled until further notice. We will assess the situation at the end of the month. Safety of our village residents is our top priority at this time. For our village resident, they can visit our website at indiantownfl.gov for frequent update information. And if they could please send us an email at info@indiantownfl.gov so we could have their emails on file and we could send them update via email. All village office and parks will be closed to the public until further notice. Staff remain working and are available by phone or email so they can assist if needed. Residents should call 772-597-9900 for non-COVID-9 questions. For COVID-9 questions, they should direct to Department of Health or Martin County EOC information line at 772-287-1650. Village staff are working on a live stream recording solution, so that way we could broadcast our future village meeting to meet the needs of our village residents and stakeholders. Village clerk is working with the Martin County EOC to ensure Indiantown is kept up to date. The village is receiving daily briefings to ensure the latest information is being posted on our website as well as our social media. All non-essential and critical special magistrate hearings are canceled until further notice. The planning division will not be processing application during this period. However, they will be available for inquiries via phone or email. All parks facilities will remain closed until further notice. Signage have been posted at all park entrance. All park-related activities, including facility rentals and large use of gathering, has been canceled. No further reservation will be taken until a further notice. And together we will beat this. Thank you.
Okay, now we come to our public comment portion of our program. We have 3 public speakers forms. We're going to begin with, and all 3 are very experienced in public speaking, understanding that they have 3 minutes. And we're going to begin with Ms. Joan Goodrich from the Business Development Board of Martin County.
Good morning, Mr. Chairman, Commissioners. I'm Joan Goodrich, Executive Director of your Business Development Board of Martin County, and here today to give you and our community a few updates. We have created a Biz Hub at bdbmc.org to help centralize some of the information going to our business community. We're populating that in real time. We've been contacting our prospects, clients, top employers, industry leaders, professional service firms to touch base and check in, to maintain a pulse of what is occurring with our economy. And of course, you've already heard from many of our locales the harshness of COVID-19 onto our economy. We continue to participate in local, regional, and state calls, and we're sharing that messaging via the Biz Hub. We were recently trained on the SBA Disaster Loan Program to better assist our businesses and nonprofits that are eligible for that program. Again, as a reminder, there are 2 options for businesses to access capital. One is with the state's Bridge Loan Program for the short term, up to 1 year and up to $50,000. And the second is the federal government's SBA Disaster Loan Program I mentioned earlier. This affordable working capital loan can be up to an amount of $2 million, depending on eligibility, and up for 30 years at a certain interest rate. Again, all information can be found at Martin County's Biz Hub at bdbmc.org. When it comes to the applications coming in from our local businesses, our SBA and SBDC team are realizing that our businesses are not filling in all of the information for the application. So to ensure a more quicker decision, we're encouraging our business owners to be very diligent. If they do need help, our local SBDC team at Indian River State College is available to help our business owners through this process. We've also established weekly calls with our economic development partners at the Chambers, the Economic Council, your tourism office, industry associations, and others. We'll be doing those on Thursday mornings so we can stay connected on current business conditions, needs, messagings, new services, and more to help our community and economy through this, through COVID-19. At this time, and like our partners, we have canceled all BDB Executive Committee and board meetings through the end of April. We will continue to send out email blasts to our community weekly and encourage everyone to also share information. Send us any referrals of businesses that you would like us to spend some time one-on-one with. No business is alone. We're in this together, and we're here to help. Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Jeff Sabin.
Good morning, Jeff Sabin, Waste Management. I'm here to address RFP 2020-3179 for solid waste and recycled materials collection. Out of respect for the cone of silence, this is my only opportunity to voice some immediate concerns. As you know, Waste Management and 2 other firms have submitted proposals to purchasing. They're being considered right now by your staff. A 5-member selection committee that is entering the second phase and most critical phase of the evaluation is the presentations. They are scheduled for this Friday in your building right next door We received notice just yesterday around noon via email that purchasing is regarding vendor presentations and requests for more additional information, reaffirming the time and place inside your building, as I said, limiting the presentation team to 4 members, and also limiting public participation to telephonic. Limiting our team at this point in this important process hampers our ability to convey to the committee members the value that we bring to the committee. 2 of our key team members are sheltered in place or working remotely as protection for at-risk conditions and cannot attend. The request for information is the most recent revelation and potential game changer. The Village of Indiantown is considering opting out of their interlocal agreement. Directly from this email, given the uncertainty about Indiantown's plans, each proposer should be prepared to tell the selection committee whether and to the extent which their proposal will be adversely affected if the selected proposer is not required to provide collection service for Indiantown. So, on the fly, we need to make assumptions about an if-come. What if we say Waste Management, the loss of revenue, alters our proposal and the others don't because they really don't know? They don't know the cubic yards, they don't know the units, what type of units, and we need to be prepared to do this on Friday. It's unrealistic to think that we could, and we are respecting we're respecting this process. It's just becoming overwhelming at this point. And the total count of types and uncertainty and the unknowns are unbelievable right now. We're losing business. We're getting cancellations and reductions from all our commercial sector. Economically speaking, I speak for the industry and country. We have entered uncharted waters. At the end of the war of this pandemic, what will the landscape and new normal really look like? Our proposal did not contemplate or calculate how many businesses will survive. As you know, 70% are small businesses, representing a financial driver that drives this whole proposal is the commercial piece. It subsidizes the residential. Not knowing that and doing our projections going forward, there's no possible way for us to go. Please postpone the RFP process. And I'm in charge of 100 people's lives right now, and they're hanging in the balance. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Joe. Mr. Rob Ranieri. And we are under a little bit of a time crunch that we, the commissioners, need a break at 10 o'clock before 10 o'clock for a 10 o'clock conference call with the EOC. So I was trying to get all public comment in before that, but we're going to need to break at 5 to 10 so we can get in. Mr. Ranieri.
Good morning, Commissioners. Just wanted to give you an update on sort of what's happening at the street level. At this point at House of Hope, we've seen roughly about a 25% increase in clients coming in to access food. The number of new clients continues to grow each day. With recent furloughs, layoffs, and closings of local restaurants and downsizing some other staff in hospitality, we're anticipating and gearing up for a much larger influx of food assistance clients. We continue to work with our partners across the county that run many of the local soup kitchens and small food pantries, and we've been successful so far continuing to secure enough food to assist them and keep everybody's doors open. Those soup kitchens are still operating for the most part. We continue to post an updated list on our website so people could see openings and closings for some of those resources as well. We're also gearing up. We worked with diligently with our friends at the Salvation Army to streamline a process for financial assistance requests based on all the great work of the United Way and Community Foundation of Martin St. Lucie and a host of other funders. They've generated dollars that are available to us, both Salvation Army and House of Hope, to write financial assistance requests and help keep people housed, pay some of their basic need bills through this challenge. So hopefully we can keep lights on, cars on the road, people being able to get to work, things of that nature, and also address health challenges they may face in addition. And then one other key part of this has been, as some of these restaurants and service industries start to close their doors or downsize, we've gotten great support from the community with donated perishable foods. So at a time when they're faced with their own challenges, they are thinking of the community, and we're grateful for that. We're converting all of that food into sandwiches and meals and getting it out into the community as quickly as we can. Last point I'll make is we started to plan in the event that there are further restrictions on businesses by the governor where non-essentials may not be able to function. Some key needs in this community that are essential would probably fall into that category. So we're working with some of our nonprofit partners to help them make alternate plans so that they can provide their services through our House of Hope main office, so we can have continuity of key services for people who need them most. So in the event that that happens, we're starting to think about those alternate plans. So things like diaper service through Healthy Start and such could continue for some of our community members who depend on those services. That's all I have for today. Thank you.
Thanks, Rob.
Thank you for everything you're doing.
Absolutely. Elizabeth Barbella.
Commissioners. Thank you. Here to update you on a couple of activities going on. Important for you to know that as of today, 12 different public and private funding entities have signed on to a funding consortium that the Community Foundation is leading in both Martin and St. Lucie counties. This is particularly important because we have released a universal application that we are encouraging every area not-for-profit to fill out. It's specific to needs for COVID-19. It will direct a pool of resources that will wind up being hundreds of thousands, if not over $1 million, that will be available. And that will continue for the foreseeable future. Once a week, these funders will meet. It's not only revealing to us what the immediate needs are, but what gaps in the system are so that we can share that information. We're surveying sector leaders so that we have one concentrated voice. As you know, the not-for-profit sector is vast, and we have many of them, and so there are a variety of different needs. Right now, we have to prioritize health, mental health, and basic needs assistance. So by pooling those resources and creating a system by which we can respond to them, we can make the best use of human and financial resources. So we are really encouraging all those who are seeking resources now to do this. Let me give you an idea. It is the United Way, the Community Foundation, Allegheny Franciscan Ministries, Cleveland Clinic, Bank of America. This is a vast group of organizations that have decided to come together really quickly and concentrate their resource. Right now, what we're seeing, I'm not going to repeat what Rob said. You know that basic needs is critical right now for folks who are underemployed or have already lost jobs, but ramping up the technology and our charities to make sure they can engage in telemed, therapy online, education services, and keep their business going is critical. They are not equipped to do this at all. So we're really rallying to see if we can garner the resources to make that happen, to keep them operational during this crisis. So we'll be calling sector leaders together. We are not, unfortunately, going to talk to 60 charities at once, but identify a sector leader in each area: elder care, children and families, education, et cetera. So we have one common voice that we can come back and report to you on and give you good, concentrated, factual information on an ongoing basis. So we're happy to be that clearinghouse. We're working very actively, and we'll continue to come back and give you updates. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Heather Mianicki, her 3 minutes is going to bring us to our break. Please come. We have two more public speakers that unfortunately are going to have to wait till after we come back.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Can you hear me okay? I'm Heather Maya. I'm a owner-resident on Indian River Drive, and it's a pleasure to be here today. I'm here to represent a list of petition of names and all of us who reside on this road. It is brought to my attention from Ken Vreeland that the water and sewer will be going through our road. At that time, he has wanted to put in a sidewalk. However, he thought none of us were interested. I took it upon myself to find out that we are, and a lot of the residents had been misinformed or uneducated upon what would happen to their property if this happened. We are requesting, please, for our health and our safety and the enjoyment of our community, when the water and sewer lines come through, to please consider having a sidewalk, a path for us to walk, bike, enjoy our community. We would love to have this opportunity to be able to walk down to our stores and restaurants and get out of our houses. This road has become very busy and it's very hard. There's no path for us. As I sit and watch people trying to walk and bike, there's no safety. On my way here today, I wait so a bicyclist can make its way. And we would love for this opportunity. We all would. So not sure where the confusion came from, but I'm here to represent that. Please, sidewalk, bike path, and that time if the power lines could be considered to go down, seems like a very great time since they're going to need to move them anyways. And talking with Fritz Ayers from Conky Joe's restaurant, we're all on board. Whatever we can do in our community to make all this happen, would be most grateful. We thank you for your time and consideration.
Carol, just a quick question.
Yes, go ahead.
So that was where I was curious. You're north of the causeway?
Yes, I'm north of Conky Joe's in Martin County.
Okay. Can you get your information to my assistant, Kathy? Years ago, we tried to do that, just that. And unfortunately, I had 5 or 6 residents that were going to...
I wasn't here then, but I've heard.
And so I'm more than happy to help if that's the... had folks that really pushed back hard on that, but I'll work with you to see if we can make that happen.
That's wonderful. I emailed her the petition of names, and every person I talked to loved this, thought it was happening before, and would love to make it happen.
Much for coming in. Appreciate
Thank you
it.
kindly. Look forward to working with you.
Thanks.
Thank you.
Okay, and with that, it's unfortunate we're going to have to interrupt public comment, but we need to adjourn for our 10 o'clock.
And we're going to ask if you all could
Okay, welcome back to our Board of County Commissioner meeting. Mary Kay, are you? Okay.
There you go.
We have two speaker forms left. I suspect that maybe one of them's gone. Jose Flores, Bob's Barbershop, and Bob Armanzo?
Amaruso, he's gone.
Amaruso, okay. Are you Mr. Flores?
Yes.
Oh, okay, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Okay. My name is Jose Flores, and I'm speaking on behalf of Bob's Barbershop, a local barbershop that's been in business for about 48 years. I myself have been there for 7 now. I keep hearing social distancing and public safety. What is being planned for the local barbershops or businesses in our fields to keep us and our families safe? Local restaurants have been forced to close down. How are we any safer than they, who were asked to distance themselves, staying 6 feet apart, or by sitting every other booth or every other seat at the bar, where we are no more than 6 inches from our client, and full hands-on? Governor DeSantis has asked or stated that it was up to the county commissioners of each county to shut down any non-essential businesses, and although we know that we could make the decision ourselves to close, it leaves us vulnerable to losing clients and walk-ins we've worked so hard to obtain.
Okay, do we have any more public comment? I don't see any. You were looking.
No, I want, you need to speak right into the mic. When you all turn your heads, these mics aren't picking
okay.
you up, so if you can just speak right in.
Okay, commissioner comments. Commissioner Hurd?
Yeah, first of all, I want to remind everyone that this virus is transmitted via human contact. So I think the wisest course of action is to restrict your personal travel as much as possible. Go out for essential errands, and other than that, you'd be wise to stay at home if you can. And also, this is off coronavirus, but I want again to bring up my concerns about the clearing that the FEC has done along A1A in Commissioner Hetherington's district by the Yacht and Country Club. They've taken down all of the trees there and have really opened up a whole new world, and it's extremely unattractive. The people in the area are blaming the county commission for doing it, and what have we done to alert people? Who's responsible for it? What kind of warning did Martin County get? What is FEC going to do? Are they going to replant? And if they're not, what steps are we going to be able to do in order to buffer the residences from the businesses on Commerce Street? Because right now, driving along there is unsightly. We have it's a great business, a scrap metal business, where there's a mountain of scrap metal that's not buffered by anything. So we need to, if maybe before code enforcement wasn't done because there was a buffer in place, now there is no longer a buffer in place. Let's make sure that we have the steps in place in order to continue to provide a high quality of life and code enforcement. Because it doesn't look good, and I don't know what steps are going to be taken in the future.
We'll get all that information for you, Commissioner, and give it to all the commissioners via memorandum.
Have we made any attempts to get in touch, particularly with the Yacht and Country Club, in order to inform them of what's being done, who did it, what to expect in the future?
Well, I don't know. I don't know the answer to that.
Well, they're most impacted.
But let us find out.
Thanks. That's it.
Commissioner Campy.
Thank you very much. I have just a couple of sort of random questions and comments that I received from constituents. First off, I'd like to just say that the legislative session in Tallahassee is now complete, and I'd like to thank Senator Harrell and Representative Oberdorf for their regular work that they had planned on doing during the session, but also for their extra work regarding the coronavirus. But more importantly, this morning I'd like to recognize and thank Representative Marilyn Magar, who is now termed out. She was the Speaker Pro Tem. She has worked tirelessly for our community for many, many years. and is one of the public servants that basically flies under the radar, doesn't do a lot of promoting of herself and her accomplishments. So I just wanted to take a moment on behalf of myself, and I'm sure my fellow commissioners, to thank her for her efforts as she steps out of this phase of public service. I got a call this morning from the news media, actually, and a citizen that was requesting that now that we've closed the beaches, and I understand why we had to based on the fact that too many people were occupying the beaches, there was no way to have safe distancing. But a group that had been overlooked is a group of citizens that use the beach for fishing and then actually feed their families with what they catch. So I spoke briefly to Parks and Rec Director Kevin Abate this morning to see if he couldn't come up with some creative and clever way that we could still afford a certain section of the beach to allow folks that use it as a fishing option for feeding their families. If there is some policy in place, I'm not saying that it's doable, I'm saying that at least we should be looking into it. Thank you. The other concern that many of us, excuse me, that are more informed through official sources have to realize, and I want to cautiously offer concern. I know that the health department and Cleveland Clinic are working as hard as they can to not only triage folks that think they might have symptoms over the telephone and then take that very large number and narrow it down to folks that they believe do meet certain criteria to actually go to the drive-ups and have the tests. However, I just want to caution our citizens when I hear folks that say to me, well, Martin County has luckily been sort of exempt from the positive cases, and that, you know, we don't need to really abide by the rules and the suggestions that we're hearing from the federal level and the state level and here locally, because it seems like it's skipped us over. I just want to caution folks that hundreds and hundreds of samples have been taken and sent out to labs, commercial labs in particular, out of state. And you can imagine that since so many communities are affected, every community, that these labs are overwhelmed. And so the concept that we have somehow been exempt from what's happening globally here in Martin County is sadly not the truth. We will one day, when these results start to flood in, then see a much more accurate number of what's happening. And I don't want to make it look like all of a sudden there's this huge explosion of positive cases, which can cause tremendous concern. But the numbers, when we talk about 4 cases positive in Martin County, that number is not a realistic number. And that all of the suggestions that you're hearing about social distancing and staying at home and not interacting as much as you possibly can, those are valid. There's also a large sort of outcry of folks that think that this will become a real big sort of we overreacted kind of situation. It reminds me obviously of when we prepare very seriously for hurricanes, and then they actually luckily miss us. So I think we have to have that same level, if not a heightened level, of let's prepare for the worst and hope for the best, simply because the worst is terrible. And so I just want the folks that think that everything's fine because we only have 4 cases, you know, at some point that number is going to get dramatically larger. And it's not because there was a huge explosion of cases, it's just that eventually the backlog of results will clear and we'll have a more clear picture. I'd also like to discuss, I know there's a lot of concern and questions as employees are being laid off or furloughed or companies are closing. You know, every day I think each of us are hearing more and more of those cases. We just heard an interesting comment from the public about barbershops. And to be honest, I don't have a legitimate answer on how you would do that, but I get if one, you know, a barbershop could close on their own, but then if someone is still looking, they could go to other places. And that's happening all over the place. But we have to remember that what we're doing to support restaurants and the food service with takeout and delivery, there are, you know, hundreds of different businesses, barbershops and hair salons, even our local urgent care facilities are now also struggling because a lot of the services that they would traditionally offer, people are not coming in for. So think about not just the restaurants and food establishments that you are very loyal to. Think about all local businesses, and if there's a way that you can do remote business or stay in touch with some of these other shops and establishments to try to do that, or call them and reach out and find out if they have a creative and safe way that you can support their business. In regards to the folks that are struggling and how they can get the resources that are necessary, again, I bring up the fact that when you see these pictures on the news of folks completely overwhelming supermarkets or big box retailers, remember, the folks that don't have the financial wherewithal to do that, they completely overwhelm not-for-profits, food pantries, soup kitchens, and the not-for-profits. I'd like to compliment, and then also, not that they need to drive additional clients to their operations, but I think there are still some folks that are new to this kind of crisis that might not be familiar with where these resources are available. The House of Hope, the Boys and Girls Club, Elevate Hope, Gertrude Walden, La Haya, all of these organizations are handing out safely and with health, your health in mind, meals and supplies for cooking at home. But there's a new group that has also started, that are thinking a little more uniquely. I know that all of us in the know here at the county are familiar with the fact that Stephen Layton and Kyle Green and other restaurateurs have utilized our fairgrounds as a drive-up operation for prepared meals and some very basic supplies. Some of it is for purchase, which keeps the operation sort of primed, but I have been informed that they have received some large donations, capital donations, that have allowed them also to serve some of the meals to our most needy at no cost. And I also know that they have sent hundreds of meals to some other organizations that are doing great work here for our community. We're fortunate that we've had a lot of not-for-profits that have been around for a long, long time. Sadly, in this kind of a situation, their services are now more important than ever. And with that, Mr. Chair, I yield back. Thank you.
Okay, and I just want to echo your comments with regard to Marilyn Magar. She's been a wonderful friend to Martin County for a long time. It's going to be sorely missed. Commissioner Hetherington.
I would also echo those. Representative Magar has served our community for some time, and she's been a great public servant, so I thank her for that. And certainly this virus has caused a lot of fear and worry and concern, but I've also seen that it's kind of inspired our residents in a rising tide of compassion, and our neighbors have been unified, and nonprofits are working together, school communities, all over our county. So I think how we act in these uncertain times are going to define Martin County for days to come. And certainly we at the county should be looking at long-term effects, and I'm receiving similar calls as many of you on local businesses, and their income has been cut either completely or dramatically. And if there's something that we can do in the future to look at putting together a task force and prevent, to address preventing homelessness and unemployment and all of the basic needs that we're going to be facing in months and months to come, then I certainly would like to see us do that.
Commissioner Smith.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I would like to add on, too, as well with Marilyn Magar. I have had the privilege to work with her through her career, and she has been a tremendous asset and a great friend of Martin County, and hopefully we will do something to recognize her. I think that would be most appropriate. Just maybe an additional comment on to one of our commissioners from Sewell's point that was talking about Publix. Again, in times where we are really pushing the limit on people's patience, I would say from my Publix in Ocean Breeze Plaza, our staff there, I say our staff, our Publix staff has done a remarkable job relative to handling all the different individuals that come into our place. I think our residents, by and large, have really tried to be supportive of that effort. I'm noticing, at least in my Publix, I don't know about all of you, the Publix that you go to, but our stocks are definitely getting replenished. They seem to be catching up. Probably still light on toilet paper, and chicken seem to be a popular choice. But they are really doing, I think, an exceptional job. And what's interesting, too, and I think people have caught on to the idea that thanking people for going above and beyond. I'm now seeing almost every person I pass in Publix thanking staff when they walk by them and telling them how much they appreciate efforts and trying to keep us able to come in the store and do our thing. So on a positive note for Publix, I'm sure what the commissioner was talking about was a pretty awkward situation to watch and be part of. Speaking, our folks are doing a small business side and to Bob's, you know, those are going to have to be decisions that you all are going to have to make, how you're going to handle the day-to-day separation of your clients. Equally important, you know, to the best that you can stay open and continue to serve them. I think that's great. Just by all means follow all the guidance that our health department is giving out and our staff is giving out, because ultimately, hopefully, that'll make a huge difference to us. And you know, just a little reach out for the Community Foundation on their efforts to organize the nonprofits. I think it's a super effort that's taking place, and you know, in a time when people don't necessarily know where to turn and don't always have all the answers, I'm glad to see that the Community Foundation stepped up and took the lead on keeping the nonprofits sort of as organized and informed as possible will ultimately benefit us in the long run relative to how we make sure that everybody is best taken care of as possible. You know, another question was raised this morning, and Taryn and Sarah stop me if I go too far or ask the question, but it might be helpful for you all to share with us or cover us on where we are with waste management practice, so that we know what we should be thinking about, what we shouldn't be thinking about.
Thank you, Commissioner. We are at the point of doing presentations. It is correct that we have scheduled the presentations. I would prefer to communicate about how that process is with you individually, just to protect the integrity of the cone of silence, which we are all respecting, and I'll be happy to answer individual questions. I will tell you that you can be assured, number one, that all health considerations are being observed, and that from my knowledge of the RFP, the possibility of any of our local municipalities who are currently involved in our solid waste collection, that was part of the RFP, and it was of no surprise should be of no surprise of anyone, because that possibility was part of the RFP, because we understand that at any time a municipality can pull out. But beyond that, I would prefer, we're following all the rules and regulations that we've put into effect, and I know Mr. Donaldson, who's spearheading the procurement process in connection with our purchasing director, you can be assured that we're following all the rules and regulations, and we'll be happy to update you daily.
And the only, I guess, additional concern I would add relative to that, and thank you for that, is that to all of our applicants, and I have no doubt on our side we will go the 10th mile if needed to make sure safe and appropriate for whatever that interview process looks like. But additionally to that, I think we need to be, I don't think it's a question we need to be careful. I think we need to understand the capabilities of all of the applicants and make sure that we are as fair. Not that we wouldn't be, we need to, if for any reason any of the applicants don't believe that they can make a presentation or do whatever the process involves that is adequate for the time, and if we need to do something in the interim to slow that up or speed that down, speed it up, whatever, it would be helpful to understand. It is a large contract for the county over multiple years, and all of our taxpayers, it would be, not that you would, I just...
No, you're absolutely correct, and point well taken. I do want you to know that there is a process that's set for by the purchasing manual as well as the procurement documents for all of the proposers to have direct communication with our purchasing department. So it's not as if, to make it clear, the cone of silence just applies to those who are making the decision.
Got it. Thank you.
And Commissioner Campy wanted to speak to that.
Yes, thank you. I appreciate that information. And not so specific to the public comment this morning about that hauling contract. I think, though, it brings up an interesting point, and a lot of these decisions we have no ability to take into consideration until someone raises them. But with that in mind, I think that, for two reasons. One, I think it's only fair that anyone that's participating in any bidding or contract process, their set of circumstances could have completely changed with what we're going through now. So if need be, I would make a motion to request staff to hear me out before you start grimacing. Reach out to parties that are currently in an active process with the county. And if any of the parties feel that they are somehow hampered under these current circumstances, that particular item be frozen for an extended period of time so that everyone has a fair opportunity. If all of the parties involved in a process feel that they're fine and would like to continue the process, terrific. However, I think that also shields us from the potential problem in the future of individuals that were in the midst of a bid process that have had their set of circumstances changed to now complain or to protest how the process worked. We're just creating a problem down the road. So my point here, and Mary Kay, this is just commentary now, my point here is that it's the right thing to do to allow all participants that are trying to do business with the county have a fair shot. If this was a year ago, I understand that people need to be prepared, but this is a whole different ballgame. And at every level of government, they are taking this new reality into consideration. I think it's important that we do.
Yes, sir, I just would, and I'm looking at the county administrator as well, I'm not sure that a motion is necessary. Certainly this could be board direction, and we have consensus from the board members that the staff would take that into consideration. I can tell you that as a matter of routine for the last couple of weeks, the staff has already taken that into consideration. And I know our purchasing division in particular, as well as in other instances, we've, at least my staff and the rest of the county departments under Ms. Krista have tried to do that, to reach out to folks when we're in the midst of dealing with something so that we their schedules at this time. But
well, I appreciate that very much, but I wanted you to have, and I get that our staff would be doing that, but I didn't know that.
Yes.
I know that you guys would be doing the right thing, but until you say it publicly, we don't know it.
And I appreciate
from
your
my
giving
own
me that
perspective, I want to be
opportunity.
very clear on that, so that if anyone waves their hand to say, look, we're not in a position to do that. And then I guess to add to that is that if you're in the process of doing new bids and contracts that are not time sensitive or urgent in a way, maybe, I'm not looking to torpedo our process, but if there is an opportunity to push the pause button for a little bit, not just businesses that are prepared to come forward and make presentations. Some folks are dealing with their own health emergencies of family members, or having to work from home or having their entire families at home. I think it's just the right thing to do.
So we're good with that?
If it doesn't need to be a motion and staff is fine with what I said, I withdraw my motion.
Okay. Commissioner Smith, are you done?
Yeah, I just wanted to raise the conversation as a discussion so we all understood where we are, and all of us, I believe, understand how we are supposed to act with these things, but thank you.
Okay, my comment is, if there is a silver lining, and there is, to our situation, it's the ability of us to be able to strengthen our families. And I have quite a few grandchildren and children, and it has mine. So I hope that everybody's taking advantage of that.
Nothing's going to strengthen the family like spending a whole bunch
Exactly.
of forced time together.
Now, that might be a different story next week, but for now, that's the way it is. But anyway.
So much for the 3-day rule?
Yeah. Well, now we're doing good. We're all good. Okay, so now we're moving on to our actual agenda items, which is public hearing number 1 has been withdrawn, as mentioned before. Public hearing quasi-judicial number 1 is second public hearing to consider adoption of the ordinance that established Division 4, the Old Palm City Community Redevelopment Code, and amends the zoning atlas. This item has been asked to be continued, so we have to open it up to public comment.
Yes, Mr. Stokes is going to get staff. We have our staff staged in another area,
Okay.
so you just have to be a little bit more patient than normal.
Ms. Walden, or Miss Correz, Mr. Walden.
No, this is number 1.
Irene, number 1 doesn't have to be opened, it's a withdrawal.
No, well, public hearing quasi-judicial 1.
It's the, number 1 is the, I'm sorry, wait a minute.
What I
It's
just
Pulte.
read.
Pulte was number 1, right?
Yeah.
And
Yeah,
that
we're
was-
past
this
that.
is-
We're at the
So now
Old
we're
Palm
at
City.
the Old Palm City.
Oh, I got you, okay.
We need Ms. Cars to open it and take public comment.
Hold on a minute, we're about to be corrected about something.
Thought it was Irene.
Oh,
No, go ahead. Can you read it?
so I have to do my thing, right?
Yes. you
Okay,
are.
does, Commissioner Smith, do you have any quasi-judicial
Ex parte.
ex parte?
Ex
If I
parte.
do, Mr. Chairman, they are filed.
I don't have my cheat sheet.
If
Commissioner
any have
Heatherton?
been filed.
I do not. Commissioner Campy?
If I have any, they've been filed.
Commissioner Hurd?
And if I have any, they've been filed.
Anybody that's giving testimony needs to stand and we're not doing that. Documents and work history, we're not.
Mr. Chair, there's been a request by staff, by the CRA, Ms. Correz, we need to open the public hearing to public comment, but the request by staff is to continue this matter until
April 21st.
Okay.
So you would just need to ask for, open the public hearing and then ask if there's any public.
Okay. That's what I thought we were doing, but okay. So this public hearing is open, and do we have any public comment on this item? Seeing none?
Mr. Chairman, if there is no public comment, I would move that we continue item PHQ1, J1 till
April 21st.
April
Second.
21st.
Okay, we have a motion by Commissioner Smith, seconded by Commissioner Campy. All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Done. Motion carries unanimously.
Thank you.
Okay, moving on to public hearing quasi-judicial number 2, request for approval of revised final site plan for the Conky Joe's Restaurant and resolution accepting the right-of-way easement and lowering the speed limit on Indian River Drive. Mr. Peter Walden. Once again, Commissioner Smith, do you have any?
I do, and they're filed.
Commissioner Heatherington.
If any, they've been filed.
And if I have any, they've been filed. Commissioner Campy?
I have none.
Okay.
And if I have any, they've been filed.
All right. So all that's going to give testimony, please stand and be sworn in. With that, is their documents and work history to be turned in?
Yes, sir, and I'd like to also add, there's a letter from Mr. Fritz Ayers included in the submittal.
And is there any interveners?
No, sir.
Okay, that's 4 out of 5. Am I missing something?
Well, the notices were turned in at the LPA.
Okay, all right, thank you. Mr. Walden.
Okay, thank you. Thank you, sir. Good morning, everyone. This is an application of Peter Walden with the Growth Management Department, Principal Planner. This is an application, is a request for approval of a revised major final site plan. The site includes 2 previously developed locations. The southern half of the site contains the existing Conky Joe's restaurant. The northern portion of the site contains the former Admiral's Table restaurant that was developed in the 1970s and has been vacant for approximately 20 years. The portion of the Admiral's Table property east of the Indian River Drive is undeveloped. The total combined site is approximately 5 acres. The future land use designation and zoning district for the entire site is limited commercial. The project is located within the primary urban services district and will be serviced by Martin County Utilities. Included with this application is a request for a certificate of public facilities reservation. Improvements to the Conky Joe site include the addition of an outdoor tiki-style seating area, a valet service area, a new observation pier, redevelopment of an existing pier, and a Riverwalk marginal pier along the entire riverfront. Improvements to the Admiral's Table property include the renovation of the existing structure for use as a restaurant and microbrewery, with the addition of a partial second story. The parking area and Indian River Drive right-of-way area will be redeveloped to provide shared parking infrastructure, interconnectivity, on-street parking, and related right-of-way improvements, including lighting to match existing light fixtures utilized in Jensen Beach. The applicant has agreed to convey right-of-way easements along either side of Northeast Indian River Drive as a condition of approval. A parking rate reduction is proposed, and a parking rate study has been provided demonstrating the project will provide adequate parking. There is also a request for alternative compliance for landscaping. Some of the vehicle use area landscape islands do not meet minimum dimensional requirements, but the landscape area overall exceeds minimum requirements for the site plan. The proposed site plan includes the addition of on-street parking along CR 707, Northeast Indian River Drive. Staff recommends a reduction in the speed limit between SR 732, which is Northeast Causeway Boulevard, and Northeast James Terrace to 30 miles per hour to accommodate the proposed parking contingent upon the approval of the site plan. This application was heard before the local planning agency on March 5, 2020. The LPA voted unanimously to recommend approval of the application. Development review staff have determined that the application is in compliance with all land use, zoning, and procedural requirements and regulations, and therefore recommends the board move to, let me get this up. Move that the board receive and file the agenda item summary and all of its attachments as Exhibit 1. Move that the board approve the revised final site plan for the Conky Joe's restaurant, including the request for a parking rate adjustment and alternative landscaping plans. And move that the board adopt the resolution approving and accepting a right-of-way easement along either side of Northeast Indian River Drive from Sunrise Restaurants LLC, a Florida limited liability company, and a right-of-way easement along either side of Northeast Indian River Drive from FM Ayers 2 LLC, a Florida limited liability company, to Martin County, and authorize the chairman to execute any and all documents necessary to complete the transaction. And we also move that the board approve the reduction in the speed limit along CR 707 Northeast Indian River Drive between SR 732 Northeast Causeway Boulevard and Northeast James Terrace to 30 miles per hour. Concludes my presentation. Be glad to answer any questions.
Any questions for staff? Yes, sir.
Just a comment when, after the applicant makes his presentation.
Okay.
Have comments for them.
Any questions? Seeing none, Mr. Crady.
Okay, good morning. For the record, my name is Morris Crady here on behalf of the applicant, who I'm sure you all know is Fritz Ayers. And as was mentioned, we did turn in our proof of notice to surrounding property owners within 500 feet at the LPA meeting on March 5th. And that was probably the last normal meeting I guess we're going to have in a while, because that was a regular public hearing. We had the entire Conky Joe's development team here. We had his management and marketing team, our consultants, and we had several members of the public that spoke in favor of the project as well. I asked them all, and the county asked them all not to attend today for reasons. But we are obviously in agreement with staff's recommendation of approval. The board of the local planning agency unanimously supported the project 5-0. I think the council members then and the staff and the audience at the LPA all recognize that this project brings tremendous value to the county on many levels: entertainment, economic value, cultural and historical value, environmental benefits as well. We are taking the half-acre lot to the north and restoring the shoreline there that has been beaten up by the hurricanes pretty bad. We're putting in upland retaining wall, building a living shoreline that's going to be planted with mangroves and provide refuge for small fish and invertebrates. We're also taking the entire site and retrofitting the county's current requirements for water quality treatment prior to any discharge into the and that includes totally redoing Indian River Drive, which currently has no drainage and pours directly into the lagoon at this point. So we're meeting the county's current requirements, not just retrofitting to the maximum extent possible. We're meeting the county's current requirements to improve that. But there's also a tremendous personal and emotional and social level that I didn't touch upon at the LPA, but was brought to my attention last night by Fritz Ayers. And with that, I'd like to read a letter that he wrote. He would love to have been here, but he wrote a letter to the board, county commissioners, and I'm just going to go ahead and read it directly into the record. Hello, my name is Fritz Ayers, and except for the 5 or so years I took to get my 4-year degree, I have lived in Martin County my whole life. I'd like to start today by thanking the many people who have spent countless hours on this project and for the great thoughts and feedback that have led us to this site design. My team and I are grateful to you all. When you think of Conky Joe's, you probably think of my late father and how he took an old, tired bar with a lot of history called Bullion Cove and restored and transformed it to the iconic restaurant that's been operating now for 36 years. His formula was to resurrect its history and remind everyone of its Prohibition-era reputation as a speakeasy called Seymour's Dine and Dance in the 1930s, when simultaneously giving it a new identity. You might also think of the Dolphin Bar, which before Dad purchased it in 1998, was a rundown restaurant with hardly a glimmer left of Francis Langford's beautiful Outrigger restaurant original to the location. A restoration to bring back that glimmer and do as Dad had done before with Conky Joe's. Give the restaurant a concept that could carry it into the future while bringing its history to the forefront. The Dolphin Bar will celebrate 20 years of operations in June. Years later, Dad set his eyes on the Admiral's Table building, deteriorating just to the south of Conky Joe's. Over many years and rejected offers, he concluded that the owners were looking for a fool to pay too much money for the property. Thankfully, for the sake of the project before you, I'm not as smart as my father, and we were able to close on the Admiral's Table 2 years ago this month. I have surely missed Dad's guidance on this project, but I am propelled by an incredible team, and we look forward to transforming the Admiral's Table into one more unique restaurant dubbed Conky's on the Bayou. It will be a rarely found waterfront brewery featuring a Southern-style dining room. In adding to the existing Conky Joe's, we are happy to answer years of Conky Joe's guest feedback by finally offering a large 30-seat waterfront bar and more of those coveted lagoon view tables. He did make a comment about social distancing being ready. Let's see. We believe the addition to Conky Joe's helps it stay relevant as time and increasing competition demand we plan for coming generations. And I'd like to assure the longtime conks, we will keep the rest of Conky Joe's conky. The lounge and the rest of the historical original building will stay as you've known them. And don't worry, that certain picture in the men's bathroom isn't going anywhere. I'm not sure what that picture is. Again, I'd like to thank you all for your support and consideration of this project. I hope my team and I deliver a finished product we can all enjoy and be proud of for decades to come. With much gratitude, Fritz Ayers and the Conky Joe's restaurant team. And obviously, they're a restaurant family that's suffering as well, so they're doing all they can, and he's doing all he can to keep everybody on the payroll, and obviously, he'd appreciate your support today. Now, I'd be glad to answer your questions.
Commissioner Smith.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. We're all in Martin County incredibly fortunate to have the various iconic places that we know and we love to go to. You have Harry and the Natives down in the southern part of the county. We have the Seminole Inn out in Indiantown and in Jensen. We have... I'm sorry? Well, I'm getting there.
I thought you skipped over.
I wouldn't skip over you. We have Mineros and others out in Palm City. We have Luna's and Riverwalk and others in downtown Stewart. And so, you know, it was great that Morris used the word iconic because it really is, they really do provide sort of identifiers for our community. They really are sort of the culture, the character, regardless of the men's room photo in Conky Joe's. If you haven't been in there, you got to go check it out, I suppose. But you know, I would go back to Fred, and you know, Fred really did create some amazing special places. And a story when I was at Morris's one afternoon talking about the site plan that I just thought was really cool and really worth sharing, and it really says a lot to Fritz and his family, and I think to Fred's, you know, legacy is that the architect that was used way back when Conky Joe's was worked on, Fritz reached out to him and has used the same architect to give the same sort of architectural style to the new brewery. And I just thought that was brilliant. I mean, it was classic, sort of, you know, Fritz, classic Fred, and the rest of their family and what that means to us. And so I would also go back a little bit too, and something that's important in a site plan that, you know, on approvals like this, sometimes things don't get noticed or don't get mentioned. And Fred was always super concerned about the speed at which people travel down Indian River Drive until you get to the roundabout coming by Conky Joe's. And, you know, where we have a parking lot on the west side of Indian River Drive and on the east side, the restaurant being now on both sides, safety was always Fred's big concern. And Fritz, to his credit, has also worked with us to make sure that we create the safest environment as possible for both our residents, patrons, and visitors that come to enjoy places like Conky Joe's. So I really do appreciate all the attention to detail, Morris, that you all put in on this one, and to Fritz, because really it makes a difference on how things function. You know, as approvals go, it is fantastic what they are doing, I think. They're improving and adding on to the existing Conky Joe's restaurant, which will be a great new addition to what we are all become accustomed to there. And then the new brewery to the north, which was the Admiral's Table, which was lost back in Francis and Jean. And the 100+ employees that we lost back then, it's great to see that being repurposed and put back into business. And even though we are dealing with the issues that we're dealing with today with the coronavirus, it'll be great when we get past that to see this thing come to fruition and have the Ayers family do the investment that they're doing in our community, which is huge for us. And so just a great thank you to the family and to Fritz and Fred for all his vision for his restaurants, and Fritz for carrying those out, and all of his staff. They do a fantastic job on a daily basis when they're open and when they're in business. And so with that, Mr. Chair, I would love to move approval of this item.
No, second.
Okay. Any other discussion? Okay, we have a motion by Commissioner Smith, seconded by Commissioner Campy.
It's quasi judicial.
Oh, I'm sorry, I forgot about that. I'll get it right eventually, maybe November. Do we have any public comment with this? Seeing none, we have a motion by Commissioner Smith, seconded by Commissioner Campy. All in favor? Aye. All opposed? Motion carries unanimously.
Can I add one more comment just as Morris is working his way out? We had a young lady come in and speak this morning and speak to the sidewalk issue on Indian River Drive. What's great is this is taking another fairly large chunk in the connectivity to downtown. So again, just by virtue of this plan, we're picking up probably 1,000 feet of sidewalk that we would otherwise have had to build if we moved that project forward. So again, thank you.
Okay, moving on to Department 1, Offices Management and Budget, items which require board approval. Ms. Manning.
Good morning, Commissioners. Jennifer Manning, OMB Director. We have several items on the agenda this morning, and I didn't have any questions from any of the commissioners. So I just wanted to point out that items 1 through 11 are items of requesting permission to apply for grants. That 12 through 16 are permissions to accept grants. And then I have 17, which is a budget transfer and CIP modification. And then 18 has various adjustments that align our budgets, revenue and expenditures. So I didn't know if you wanted me to go through each item, or did you have any questions at all?
Commissioner Smith.
Mr. Chairman, if there are no other questions, I would move approval of Department 1, Jennifer's items.
Okay, does anybody have any questions or clarifications? Okay, with that, we have a motion by Commissioner Smith, seconded by Commissioner Heatherington. All in favor? Aye. All opposed? Motion carries unanimously.
Thank you.
Department number 2, contracts that meet threshold for the board approval. Christy Brotherton. Did I get it right that time? You got it right. Wow.
Okay, good morning. Up for consideration today, we've got a number of contracts. The first one we have is Map Road Town Center. We received 3 bids for this project. Staff is recommending that the board award the contract to the lowest responsive and responsible bidder, which is Sunshine Land Design, in the amount of $5,686,311.46. To adopt the repayment schedule as presented by board resolution, and to adopt the revised fiscal year 20 Map Road Town Center CIP sheet.
Mr. Chair, are we going to take these individually, or are we going to bundle them together? If everyone's comfortable, I don't mind bundling.
Bundle.
Thank you.
Proceed.
Next, we have Savannah Road resurfacing and bike lanes. 7 bids for this project. Staff is recommending award to the lowest responsible bidder, which is Community Asphalt, in the amount of $1,046,800. The next contract we have is a continuing services contract for roadway mowing and landscape and stormwater maintenance. This is a rebid. We received 6 bids for this contract. Staff is recommending a contract award to Kerner Environmental as well as Brightview Landscape Services. They have it split up. Last, we have the building architect and building envelope consulting. This is a continuing services contract. It is split up in 2 parts. The first part is for architectural services, which is related to renovations and/or modifications to county buildings. The second part is for building envelope consulting, which is for expert oversight on new and existing county buildings. We received 11 responses, and staff is recommending award for architectural services to CPZ Architects, Granfield Architects, Jeffrey Igo Architects, and Tamara Peacock Company Architects. For the building envelope consulting, staff is recommending award to J. Ammon Architect and Jeffrey Igo Architects.
Okay, with that, any questions for staff?
I'd make a motion to accept the presentation as presented.
Second for discussion.
Okay. Any further discussion? Go ahead.
Yeah, just a quick comment. I'm just thrilled that The item 1, the Map Road Town Center project, finally has made it to our agenda, and after 4 years and committing to the community to get it done, congratulations, Commissioner Campy, on your project out there.
Absolutely.
Thank you very much. I appreciate that. I look forward to having you all at a ribbon cutting.
Okay. With that, I forgot who made the motion. Commissioner Campy made a motion, and it was seconded by Commissioner Smith. All in favor? Aye. All opposed? Motion carries unanimously. Department 3, status of 2020 flood insurance rate maps. Lisa Wixer. Not Lisa Wixer.
Good morning, Mr. Chair, Commissioners. My name is Chris Van Vliet. I'm the floodplain coordinator for Martin County, and I work out of Public Works. Let me get a proper slide up here for the PowerPoint.
There she is.
Okay.
Under view, Chris, if you go under view, up at the top, go under view. This one is full screen mode. Go down, full screen mode. No,
Go down.
Yes, the reason for this agenda item is to inform you about the new maps, flood maps that became effective on February 19th, a little over a month ago. Critical thing, or the important thing to remember about these maps is that they were based on a coastal flood risk study that FEMA undertook. It actually began back in 2011. The old maps, the prior maps that were completed in 2015, they were based on a riverine study, rivers, streams, and creeks, and this particular study was the coast. This study also included other counties, Brevard County, Indian River County, St. Lucie County, and Martin County. So it was a comprehensive analysis of storm surge, wave hazards modeling, and mapping. Also, the good news for Martin County is that base flood elevations are generally lower than they previously were. This is important for lower insurance premiums, possibly less fill for new structures. And another thing, these new maps do not factor in sea level rise or increased rainfall frequency or rainfall intensity. Those factors may be coming to bear in the future, but they're not included in these maps. FEMA used a model that was calibrated from tropical storms and hurricanes from 1940 through 2010 that passed within 175 nautical miles of Melbourne, Florida. That's what they used in their analysis. As far as the outreach was concerned for these maps, we sent letters. This particular letter is included in the agenda package. We sent letters to 225 local lenders, insurance agents, and real estate agents, informing them about the effective date of the maps. And another important factor that we included, we always like to keep them apprised that we're continuing to track substantial improvement. Substantial improvement is something that's required of us by FEMA, the NFIP, which is under FEMA, and we actually participate in the community rating system, and that's a requirement of that as well. In a nutshell, what substantial improvement is, if an applicant has a structure that they're looking to improve and they're in the special flood hazard area, that is a flood zone that begins with the letters A or V, and they cannot demonstrate that their finished floor elevation is at least 1 foot above the base flood elevation, That's when the substantial improvement rule kicks in, and what happens then is we track their work for 5 years. Some counties do more, some do less. So if somebody walks in tomorrow with a permit and they desire a floodplain review, I'd be looking at the proposed amount of work, and I'd be going back 5 years if those other requirements fall into place. If they're high enough, then it's not a consideration, or if they're outside of the special flood hazard area, it's also not a consideration. As far as our outreach was concerned, we sent postcards. This is what the postcard looked like. We sent that to just under 10,000 residents, informing them about the new effective date of the maps. The excess of the cards were distributed in the county administration building, also in the Blake Library, and also in the building department on Runkey. Other outreach methods had placards placed in those 3 locations as well, poster boards. We had messages posted on social media, Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. Our public access channel ran ads telling residents about the new maps. So we reached out to the public and I'm aware of the maps. Now, I'm going to probably have to minimize this. I was hoping to be able to link directly from minimize this and go to the desktop. I'd like to show you what residents will be looking at when they go to the maps. This is our flood zone page. So anybody out there with a computer, they can even go to the libraries. They type in the county web address /flood. If they forget that, they can just type flood into the search box on the main county website. You'll bring up this flood zone page, and you just scroll down a little bit to flood zones map. Click on that. It will bring up the new map. And what you'll see in the upper left-hand corner is a search box, and that's where you type in your address. So I'm going to type in a sample address. Palm City, 1500 Southwest Capri Street. So what will happen from there after you type in your address, you'll see a new information box jump onto the screen at the location that you typed in. Now, the 2 things to keep in mind when you see that, the black bar on top is your search result bar, and then to the left of the information box, you'll see a dot with an arrow pointing to it. That will activate the information box. So by clicking on that, you'll see that the search results on top are active. You hit the arrow button to scroll, and you'll see, this is why I chose this one as well. If residents have submitted an elevation certificate, what they'll see on the map is a yellow dot. If they haven't submitted one, it'll be a dark dot. So in this case, one was submitted, it was reviewed, scanned, and placed on the maps. So that's the first piece of information. You scroll. This is the critical piece of information that most people are looking for. In this case, the property is in an X flood zone. That's the lowest risk flood zone that there is. So that's good news for this party. And then the next search result is a way to get to the property appraiser's website. Let me just backtrack one, just to let you know that there's more information on there for people if they want to download the flood insurance rate map. What you'll see is the flood panel for that particular location. Another piece of information below that is what's called the LOMC, the letter of map change. That's a process by which residents can contest or challenge FEMA's determination of their flood zone. So what we have here is a list of all effective or valid LOMCs that are on file, and they carry along with the map. Then below that, you have the flood insurance, the flood risk study report, and that's what the maps are based on. That's really the meat and the bones of the flood insurance rate maps. So residents have access to this, any of this information if they'd like, and they can always download it. One that's in a different flood zone. 3443 Southeast St. Lucie Boulevard in Stewart. Again, you see the black bar on the top. That's going to be your search results bar. You'll see that the arrow is pointing to the left to the black dot. That's really the center point of the address. So you click on that. You see the search bar is activated. You scroll to the right, and you'll see, in this case, it's an AE flood zone, which is higher risk. It's in a special flood hazard area. And another pertinent piece of information that people might be seeking is the base flood elevation. In this case, it's 5 feet. Same other information is here. They can download the flood insurance rate map. They can look at the effective and valid LOMCs that are on file. And they can also look at the background information in the flood insurance, the flood risk study report. And then, right, this again takes me to the Martin County Property Appraiser's website. That's pretty much it. I'll just close with 2 remarks about the most frequent questions that I get asked from residents. The first one would be, am I in a flood zone? Everybody is in a flood zone. It just depends on the level of risk. So the higher risk flood zones are the ones that are designated as the special flood hazard area. Those are flood zones that begin with the letters A or V. The lower risk or moderate risk flood zones are the ones that begin with the letter X. But just a word of caution, and what I tell the residents that call me and contact me, X flood zones do flood. We're seeing that more and more. The prime example was Houston, Texas a few years ago, Hurricane Harvey. The majority of properties that flooded were in the lower risk X flood zone, and the tragedy in that case was that they were uninsured and they didn't have flood insurance. The second question is, do I have to get flood insurance? The requirement for flood insurance is if you have a federally backed mortgage and you're in the higher risk flood zones. However, if your home is paid off, it would be a wise decision still to get it. And if you're in the X flood zone, I always recommend people to get flood insurance as well, because again, like I said, floods occur in X zones for different reasons. So it's always a good thing. I think that's about it. If you have any questions, I'll be glad to give it a stab and answer any questions you might have.
Any questions for staff? Yes, sir.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. So curious, similar to when our property appraiser sends out her tax notice every year, she sends out a one-pager that on the back side has like a 3-colored explanation. If you're in the gray zone or if you're in the yellow zone, that's not what it is on the tax bill. It's what the estimated taxes are going to be, what the last year's taxes were going to be, and what the actuals would be this year if we don't change the rate. Would it be helpful to create some kind of a simple explanation like that for residents or for realtors to be able to hand out to new purchasers so that they have a very simple one-page or even like a 3x5 card or something that would give exactly what you just pointed out, if you're in X zone, Y zone, W zone, whatever.
Yes. Absolutely.
And if you were to click on our map and go to this site, this would give you a quick reference point how to get there. It just might be something that would help realtors have something to hand out, because I can assure you that most people won't think about this and go to look here. Even though we have it, you understand it, now we understand it. People that are looking to buy a house or are in the midst of deciding whether or not they should have flood insurance, or even to get the update on the current map.
Yes, absolutely. It's something we could do, and you're seeing it more and more in Florida and around the country. A lot of counties are really engaging with their realtors and their lenders and insurance agents.
So the realtors are one group, and maybe what we could do too in our tax bill is maybe we could insert that one page something that, as an explanation, it gets mailed out to everybody anyway, and that way everybody could kind of look to see where they fall and where they are in the rate map.
Yes.
Just as a thought.
Mr. Chair, if you reach out to the Martin County Realtor Board, they are constantly sharing this information. So I believe I've seen some of the updates already, but they'll be happy to blast it out to their members, I'm sure.
And we're also reaching out to the engineering community and surveyors as well, through their organizations, through their newsletters. So it's an ongoing process. But yes, it's important to make it as simple as possible, and again, to impress on them that any flood zone can flood.
Great job, great map.
Have you had the opportunity to make this presentation to the Realtor Board?
No, not in person, no. Just a letter at this point.
I'm pretty sure Commissioner Hetherington can make that happen for you. I think realtors in particular, I agree with what Commissioner Smith said, realtors in particular, even if they have, if you walked them through like you just did for us, the ability to use this system that's in place, it's just an extra tool. And I know they meet on Tuesdays or Thursdays or something.
And TCBA, they may be another, they meet monthly as a resource. They're always looking for speakers to come and GWOW wisdom, so.
Mhm.
Thank you, sir. Okay. From what I understand, we need to go back to consent poll.
Yes, we have one consent poll. Mr. Abate's here.
It's consent 15, and I pulled it. And consent 15 is adoption of a resolution renaming the Martin County Golf Course from Martin County Golf Course to Sailfish Sands Golf Course. My concern is that we seem to be insistent upon rebranding and renaming an awful lot of county taxpayer-funded improvements and facilities, and I think that we are overstepping where we should be going. I think that Martin County Golf Course is probably branded perfectly, and I don't think that we need to give every facility that we refinish or improve a nickname. I know that we've had competitions among school-age children to rename some of our facilities, and I just think that we need to step back from that and just be very proud of our Martin County brand.
Kevin Abate, Parks Director for the record. Last January, January 8th, 19, as a part of the overall program for the golf course, that was something that was board directed to rebrand and rename the golf course as a new experience. Very similar to what's around us, specifically like Indian River County has Sandridge Golf Course, St. Lucie, Port St. Lucie calls there's the Saints. Palm Beach County's golf courses are called Park Ridge, Southwinds, Osprey Point, and et cetera. So that was in the board item. So we went through the informal parks naming policy. There's a lot of good reasons for rebranding, but that was basically the board direction. So we continued that pathway because we're getting close to construction completion, and then we have a growing period. So we want to be ready for the new brand.
Commissioner Campy.
Thank you. I can appreciate Commissioner Hurd's concern. I did think about when I had reviewed the item, I remember us discussing that we had asked you to do it. But when I saw that the item was pulled, I went back to review it again and think about, and you sort of touched on it. Most of the surrounding communities right around us here, you use them as examples, but I went and did some Google searching. Most golf courses, community or county-run golf courses, do have some type of name. You know, this is going to be a business enterprise. If you lost money there, you would be chastised as Parks and Rec Director. So if we give you additional tools to market the facility that would also allow you to, increase revenue and keep these operations as potentially cost neutral as possible. I think marketing and branding, anybody that's in that business would tell you, from the logos to merchandising to golf shirts and the rest, I think it's a step in the right direction. With all due respect to Commissioner Hurd, I see the point of leaving things alone, but Martin County Golf Course is pretty generic type name, and since we're expecting a lot of wonderful things to happen at this facility, it is almost a rebirth, so a rebranding to me is appropriate, and I would move staff's recommendation.
Second for discussion.
Okay, Commissioner Smith.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. So I'm just curious, so in the name, do you envision it being like Sailfish Sands Golf Course, like underneath of it in smaller text, like it'll be Sailfish Sands? Or do you see it all as one line, or have we not got to that design?
Yeah, if this is approved today, then the next step would be to hire someone.
Okay, so we haven't done that yet?
No, we've not started that process yet.
Okay, great. When you get there, it would be, I for one, and I'm sure the others would maybe like a visit from you and whoever the design person is to share with our thoughts and ideas.
Yes, absolutely.
Okay. You good? Okay, we have a motion by Commissioner Campy, seconded by Commissioner Smith. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. All opposed?
Opposed?
Motion carries 4-1. Commissioner Hurd dissenting. With that, I believe we've reached the end of our program today. So is there any public comment? Seeing none, Commissioner comments. Commissioner Hurd?
I'm set.
Commissioner Campy?
A question in regards to our future meeting schedule.
Oh, yeah.
If we're going to be meeting on our traditional schedule that we have, our next meeting would be...
April 7th and the 21st.
Okay, I mean, I think this system worked well. There was some feedback from residents that were asking, why are we doing this? I think the benefits of why we're doing this, I watched some other press conferences that were happening throughout the country, and this distance between elected officials and the way we've scattered the room. And, I know some people don't like the way that we're utilizing the microphone. I think we're taking the necessary precautions, but we still need to run the county. Folks that have business in the future before the county would expect us to. I think we're walking fairly the fine line between taking this issue very, very seriously, but still continuing to conduct the business of government. So I'm in favor of meeting again like this. The other thing that I would tell people is this is ever changing. I mean, every time you open up an email, I'm sure we do at least, the governor is sending down different requirements. He's creating in real time executive orders that are coming down. I know that there's a new one where he's asking folks that are flying in from the tri-state area of New York, New Jersey, and Connecticut to sort of isolate themselves. There's been conversation about obviously what we've done with the beaches and parks and playgrounds, and I think Commissioner Hurd's comment this morning about, if you don't need to be out and about, don't be out and about, makes sense. Even in my own family, I'm sensing a balancing act between being very serious about what's happening, but not getting to the point where it's starting to become crippling, emotionally crippling, where people are getting panicked. I think as long as we can maintain some kind of official carry on, Winston Churchill said, keep calm and carry on. That rings in my head quite a bit. So we'll see you in 2 weeks. Thank you, sir.
Commissioner Heatherton?
I'm all set, thank you.
Commissioner Smith?
Yeah, just a last thought for the board to think about. The question I get asked, I think more than anything by our residents that are either calling or however they're communicating, is how much they appreciate our ability to communicate back out to the public, especially via TV, anything computer related whatsoever. So all the emails, all the stuff that we may be pushing out in that social venue isn't reaching people like my mother. The concern that is expressed from the folks that I've talked to is they are scared, they are concerned, and they are, I think, equally being pushed by what is being pushed out on social media that is not accurate. And so to the greatest extent that we can be public, whether it's this venue or some other venue via TV or other media outlets, I think we should at least once a week give some kind of status update. As Ed just said, the governor is daily pushing out updates, and we are pushing them back out through our emergency management operations system. Fair enough. But that gets confused really quickly out there in terms of what is and what isn't. And I'm sure all of you have heard feedback from people that I'm amazed at how people translate what is said on social media into that becomes reality. So to the greatest extent we can do that, I think it would be appreciated by our residents.
Ms. Woods.
Yes, Mr. Chair, members of the board, I've distributed to each of you, and I apologize, this came on very suddenly, a proposed resolution for the Board of County Commissioners, which deals with the use of communications, media technology to conduct public meetings. This resolution, should you pass it, will be available on the website. I have copies in the back. We can make copies available however anybody makes a request for them. So I'll go ahead and read it because I'm not able to put it up on the .cam. The President of the United States has declared a state of emergency for the country to address the public health threat as a result of COVID-19. On March 9th, Governor Ron DeSantis issued Executive Order Number 2052 declaring a state of emergency in the state of Florida regarding the COVID-19 pandemic. On March 16th, 2020, Martin County Emergency Management Director Michelle Jones declared a local state of emergency in order to address the serious public health threat. On March 16th, the CDC issued guidance advising individuals to adopt far-reaching social distancing measures, such as working from home and avoiding gatherings of more than 10 people. 5, despite the health threat posed by COVID-19, the ability of the Board of County Commissioners and its boards and agencies to continue to conduct official business is important to the well-being of Martin County residents. Recognizing that certain provisions of Florida law require a physical quorum to be present in order for local government bodies to conduct official business, on March 20th, 2020, Governor Ron DeSantis issued Executive Order Number 20-69, which suspended any Florida statute that required a quorum to be present in person or requires a local government body to meet at a specific public place. Executive Order Number 2069 further provides that local government bodies may utilize communications media technology such as telephonic and video conferencing as provided in Section 120.54 paren 5B2 Florida statutes to conduct their meetings so long as other requirements of the Florida Constitution and Florida's Government in the Sunshine Law, including Chapter 286 Florida statutes, are met. Now therefore be it resolved by the Board of County Commissioners of Martin County, Florida, that in consideration of the serious public health threat which currently exists, as well as the need to continue to conduct official public business, the county administrator or her designee, after consultation with the county attorney or her designee and the chairman of the Board of Commissioners, is hereby given the authority to determine whether a public meeting of a Martin County board, agency, or committee should be conducted with a physical quorum present, or whether the public meeting should be conducted pursuant to Executive Order Number 20-69. Before deciding to conduct a public meeting without a physical quorum present, the county administrator, in consultation with the county attorney and the chief information officer, shall develop an administrative policy and procedure which fully implements the requirements of Executive Order Number 2069. During the declared state of emergency, the cancellation of public meetings of the Board of County Commissioners shall be governed by Section 5, Board Meetings Cancellation, which is part of the rules of procedure of the Martin County Board of County Commissioners. Public meetings of other Martin County boards, agencies, or committees shall not be canceled without the express approval of the county administrator or her designee and the county attorney or her designee. Duly passed and adopted this 24th day of March 2020. This was...
Second.
I just wanted to indicate this is meant as a precursor so that you've got the methodology in place and the backstop in place should the opportunity exist. It's not meant to say that we're canceling anything or doing anything remotely, but this way you've given your approval to using the methodology that the governor's approved for us. And at that, I'd recommend approval, please.
Okay. We have a motion by Commissioner Campy, seconded by Commissioner Smith. All in favor?
Aye.
Motion passes unanimously.
Thank you.
Ms. Christo.
No, for the most part, I just want to thank our employees. You know, the logistics of getting this room set up down to the individuals behind us wiping down everything right after, you know, we utilize various things, and everybody is really stepping up and helping out in roles that they don't normally do. So I appreciate that. And also, just for your information, in case you start getting calls from your constituents, we have made a determination relative to code enforcement and the barbershop signs particularly, or the snipe signs for the restaurants. They're using those to communicate that they're open or good for takeout or what their phone numbers are. We're not going to be enforcing that for this time frame, at least through the end of the month, and then maybe then some. So if you start getting complaints, we've decided that that may be the only communication these restaurants have. So that's it.
Okay, unless somebody's got something else, we're adjourned.